Enter Dymension, a new way to create custom rollups to scale your decentralized apps, or as they call them, rollaps. This is not some gimmicky project, there is real utility behind this, and it could change blockchain development forever. And in this video, I will show you why this is the case. Of course, we will look at all the important data, tokenomics and price prediction included. As always, in this episode of Phil Prince, your one and only stop for crypto, finance and trading. With me, you will gain the skill set as well as the mindset to crush the markets. Before we start, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please ask yourself why and do it now. You don't want to miss any of the next videos. Let's get to it. Before we get into what Dymension really does, let me show you that this project is brand new. It started out on February 7th, 2024. At the time of recording, this is yesterday. Market cap is already at $1.1 billion. The 24-hour volume is extreme. We have $500 million. This is half the market cap at the moment. This shows for extreme interest. The fully diluted market cap is at $7.5 billion, which screams for token unlocks. We will look at this later within the tokenomics section. I can already tell you I'm really thrilled about this project. So as Dymension is all about rollups, I need to give you a quick primer what these are. This is a pretty deep topic, but I will keep it simple. So in general, a rollup is a scaling mechanism. The aim of this mechanism is to increase speed and lower transaction costs. In the example of Ethereum, this means that transactions from layer 1, the Ethereum blockchain, go down to a layer 2 protocol and will be bundled there into a container basically. Through this, there are no single transactions, but rather group transactions. Therefore, the transaction cost gets split among all of the transactions in the container, and the result is then fed back into the layer 1 chain, in this case Ethereum. So basically you could describe rollups as add-ons because this functionality is not natively supported. Also, there are two main types of rollups, being optimistic rollups as well as ZK rollups. To keep it short, an optimistic rollup is a rollup that assumes that all of the transactions are valid. Everyone has then a certain amount of time to contest fraudulent transactions. In a ZK rollup, which is short for zero knowledge, cryptographic mechanisms are put into place that determine if a transaction is valid, while still being private, fast and cheap. Also, this takes load off the layer 1 network and prevents it from being congested. As this is not a native function, funds need to be bridged to the layer 2 solution, which is another party you have to trust, and therefore inevitably more risk. So what has Dymension to do with all of this? So let me explain by showing you this Twitter thread by MetaQuant. Basically, it's becoming a thing to have an own rollup for your specific dApp, as it's then perfectly adapted to your product. And block space for transaction is not limited, so there will be no bottleneck. Some projects that already did this are Immutable and Engine, which are both in the gaming sector, and DYDX and Avo, which are both trading exchanges. In order to make the process of building an individual rollup easy, RAAS, Rollup as a Service, has established. These are basically ready-to-use frameworks with their own SDK, which make it really easy to get started. An example would be AltLayer, which I already made a video about, and is based on the Ethereum blockchain. But there's also services based on Cosmos and Celestia. And Dymension, which we are looking at now, is Cosmos based. And therefore you should now understand why it's called rollapp. This is because the development of the dApp itself as well as the rollup is now completely integrated. As I explained earlier, rollups are not native to Ethereum and therefore needs to bridge funds, which bears more risk. Also, the rollups are fragmented because they can't communicate with each other. Therefore, Dymension chose Cosmos as it has the so-called IBC. This stands for Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol and basically has more security guarantees. In this concept, the Dymension hub acts as layer 1 and every rollup is connected to this hub with the IBC and therefore are indirectly connected to each other. To make it really clear, let me emphasize that this means that every rollup has its own layer 2 blockchain. It's easy, it's fast, it's decentral, and it's great for users as well as developers. So now that you understand the vision as well as the utility of Dymension, let's head to tokenomics. As initially mentioned, the fully diluted market cap of 7.5 billion compared to the circulating market cap of 1.1 billion indicates that there will be token unlocks. If If we take a look at the allocation, we can see that the core team has 20% of the token supply. Research and development as well as ecosystem also is at 20%. Then the DAO has 33% and the rest is split between backers, public allocation and community pool. The first thing I really like to see is that the team and the backers will get unlocked in 1 year, which is always a good sign for a project as it shows team conviction. And for me, mostly rules out a pump and dump. As you can see, the token unlocks are very shallow, which is also good to see. It'll start to pick up in February 2025. Starting from then, we will potentially see more selling pressure. If till then demand also picks up, this will be no problem. Actually, token unlocks this shallow for 1 year, this is pretty rare. Also, Dymension is already listed on many spot exchanges like Binance, KuCoin and Kraken, which is a very good sign, especially Kraken, as I mentioned over and over in my videos, as Kraken is more picky with project listing than the other exchanges. Dymension has its own statistics dashboard. Apart from this, there's not too much data accessible as the project is so new. What we can see is that we have nearly 600,000 total addresses on Dymension, which is a lot. The DYM token can be staked and also holds governance rights. As usual, staking brings yield and therefore increases supply and is therefore inflationary, but we also have a burn mechanism which is deflationary, and together they balance supply out. This is something which I explained more in depth in my video about Internet Computer or ICP. At the moment there is no information about the TVL on rollups, but in this article by Bitfinex, they report that the TVL is about 10.7 million DYM and there's already 13,000 deployed rollups on the network. DYM also had an airdrop with its launch, which accounts for $390 million. Therefore, it currently is the second largest airdrop of this year, following the DEX aggregated Jupiter on Solana, which I also made a video about. Furthermore, Dymension just had one seed round in February of 2023, which raised $6.7 million, which compared to other projects is pretty low. So I guess the rest is self-financed, because I would be surprised if this has been enough to build everything. If we take a look at the chart, we can see that there is not too much history as the project is just around 2 days old. Therefore, we can't really do any technical analysis. Alongside overall market strength and strength in altcoins, I suspect it goes higher in the short term. This is everything I can say to that. The only thing we could do is to use Fibonacci tool to see where the first price target would be. And this is at $11.8, which would be around 52% to the upside. Of course, this doesn't mean that we have to go straight up from here. A correction is always possible first. Also, given the overall health of this project, I would use lower prices to scoop up some tokens. Will we see prices as low as $1, for example? Let's just be honest, nobody can tell you that. Therefore, if you want to invest for the long term, just DCA over time. This will give you a nice overall entry price. The other way would be to trade it, just wait for a trend to establish and then act accordingly. If you don't know how to trade, I have good news for you. Here on my channel, you will learn everything you need to know. Just stay around and watch my videos. There is so much more to come. For a long-term prediction, it's actually a bit early, but we could compare it to Celestia as it's also a modular blockchain approach. But as you can see at the moment, this would just give us a 3x, and I'm pretty sure we can see more multiples for Dymension in this bull cycle. I would say it's a bit dependent on the narrative of rollups as a service. If this picks up steam, DYM will be on the forefront for sure. And given the improved utility compared to normal rollups, I think there's a good chance for this. What's your take on Dymension? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this will be a hot investment? For more in-depth altcoin reviews and price predictions, click here and click here if you want to see my latest video. I hope you gained massive value, and if you haven't already, please subscribe now so you don't miss any of my next videos. As always, this was not financial advice. Please do your own research and due diligence. This was Phil Prince for you. Crush the markets until next time. Goodbye.